if I become aware of how somebody else sees me as, it's I think that part of the richness of being human is reconciling that. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, how big of a difference between what I feel and know about me compared to what other people see me as. Now, for me personally, I know that a lot of people see me as the go-to gal when they want problem solving. They see me as an intuitive guide. They see me as a very calm, relaxed person.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome. Hi, everybody. Hi, Moira.
Hi, Debz.
Yay. I think
Here
I
we
actually always
are.
start. Yeah. Here we are, deliciously motivated mindset with Debz. That would be me. And Moira,
That
be
would be
you. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Nice to have you back. Thank you for joining us. We are two women on different sides of the world, here to bring you mindset tips, allow your mind to ease, to challenge your mind to think bigger than you have, and to retrain your brain.
Yeah,
There you go.
Get in touch with the truth of you.
Yes,
Retrain your brain.
Retrain your brain. So thanks for joining us. Oh, what a day. Today's a goodie.
This is a goodie.
A goodie. If you heard us before, you'll notice that I always say it's a goodie. In fact, it's either one of us. In fact, we probably both do say that.
We probably both do. Yeah.
That's the one. But first, before we get into it, we're going to rate ourselves. And when we rate ourselves, we go from a 0 to 10. And it's really important just to, well, I think it's important, and so does Moira, clearly. It's important just to check in where you are emotionally, physically, spiritually, just where you are right now. So 10, 10 being, and for my accent, 10 is a number between 9 and 11. 10 is when you are in a complete pickle, chaos, frazzled, fingers in the socket, your hair's end, you actually even know how you can take a breath and and you're in a complete state. Would be the nicest. And I believe most people have been to a 10 at one point, but just know that your 10 could be different to my 10.
Yep.
So that's a 10. And a 0 is completely neutral. There's no highs, there's no lows, nothing's emotionally running you. You just feel like you're gliding through with ease and you're not peeved off with the past, anticipating the future. You're just sitting at that, this is a lovely moment. Would be a 0.
Yep.
Would that be it?
Yep, that would be it.
Perfect.
Sitting there with grace and ease, allowing everything to be.
Yay. So in saying that, we rate ourselves, and then at the end of the podcast, we rate ourselves again and just see if we've shifted either a higher or lower number, just to check in. And we also encourage you to do this throughout the day. Occasionally would help you as well if things start going for a wobble, just to regulate yourself and see where you're at. So I'm going to ask Moira two things. One is going to be on the title and one is going to be on her being. your human being status. So, Moira, where are you at on both those?
So for me, within me, I'd actually put myself at a 0. I'm feeling pretty chill. It's a good day. It's a rainy day here. That always makes me feel pieced out when it's a rainy, bring you in day. But on the
Especially when you
topic,
don't have to go outside. You've already been.
I've
Yep.
already been. But on the topic, I'm going to put myself at a 2. I was going to say a 3. Maybe I'll be at a 2.5, 2.5, because this has always been an interesting one for me, putting myself in my own perspective and then looking at it from outside. So we'll see how this unfolds for us. So how about you?
The topic is a great one. A goodie. Because it really allows me to go how much I've evolved. So I'm going to say a 1 on the topic, just because there's a little bit of excitement for that. And I'm also going to put myself at a 1 for who I am emotionally, physically, sitting here talking to you right now. I'm going to say a 1. I'm going to say a 1 just because there's a few little things. Plus, I probably should have gone to the toilet before this. So share that with the listeners. So I'm going to say a 1 consciously. It's always a good one to start. So the topic is, what do others see you as? And when I say what do others see you as, what do they see you as and believe you are and think you are, and then they can share about you or anything. So, Moira, what do others see you as? And let's kick this puppy off. Oh,
I love this. I love this topic. What's that? Let's kick this puppy off.
Let's not kick this puppy. Let's kick this podcast off. I know that didn't sound too good. Let's kick this podcast off. Yeah. Yeah. So you love this topic.
I like this topic because I think it's a gift. The idea of what others see us as is a gift of reflection, right? So if I become aware of how somebody else sees me as, I think that part of the richness of being human is reconciling that. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, how big of a difference between what I feel and know about me compared to what other people see me as. Now, for me personally, I know that a lot of people see me as the go-to gal when they want problem solving. They see me as an intuitive guide. They see me as a very calm, relaxed person. And then, so I know that, but then sometimes I am not that, right? So I get into the chaos. And like you said earlier, Deb, there are times where I might hit a 10 on that 0 to 10 scale. But I'm not necessarily going to let other people into that. So it's all about, to me, it's about having an awareness of how other people see me and stand in that and be that. Be the role model, be the catalyst for helping people. But then also to give myself permission to step back and still be real. Like just because I'm aware of how somebody sees me does not mean that it needs to be forced. I think that's a really important piece. You don't want to have it being forced or feel like you're playing a role or holding a mask. Do you know what I mean?
Playing a role is a really great one because I know, like, even that alone, they talk about people on stage, like inspirational speakers, and then they come off stage and they're a-holes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. And but knowing that actually happens, because it does happen, is really interesting. And so I think, like, I get what you're saying and I hear what you're saying. I think the thing is, the moment you own fully who you are, and just go, this is me,
Yeah.
which is what you and I both teach and educate.
Absolutely.
The moment you can take ownership of that, then you can actually, then you're in your real true power. And it's not true power a-holeness. It's not true power pom-pom moment. It's just, you're actually not attached.
Mhm.
And we know when you're not attached to certain things or anything, that's when the true power is. So if people say things to you, you're not reacting. And that's the gold. That's the gold that's right there shining for you. And I think, I mean, there's people who, I think, hang on, if I go back, when I go back, I was talking about this the other week actually about my ex-partners, and I didn't realize, I guess I was so naive to who I was that they would, and I'm going to use the word control, they would control me into, I allowed it, like, don't get me wrong, you know, what to wear, what to say, who to be around, all those little niggles that we've all had in our life.
Yeah.
You know, that's what parents do already from the start. You know, don't run across the road, you're going to get hit by a truck. Well, there's never a truck on the street, but okay, mum, I hear you. You know, it's those things that we have. But, you know, we hold on to what people say to us, like, don't wear that because you're going to get labeled that. Don't do that because somebody's going to say something. And I remember when my daughter was talking about getting a piercing up the top of her ear, and I said, is that really where you had one when I was growing up? I also had one on my nose that my mum didn't appreciate, and that came out very quickly. But going to those things, you know, I said to my daughter, you're going to get labeled. It's up to you. If you can handle the things that are fired at you, then go ahead and do it. But if you can't handle that, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, why do you want to do it? And then she actually said, well, I'm not doing it. And she did go into into a military career, so she couldn't do it anyway.
Right.
But it's those, if you can't handle what people say to you, you know, is it really who you are? But how do you handle that? Because
Right.
I'm not saying don't do that because you're worried about what people say, but if you can't actually handle someone saying, don't wear red. I mean, I know red is the banner of all of my social media, or all who I am. And someone goes, I really hate, have you thought about getting rid of red? And I'm like, well, that's like saying to you, get rid of your purple.
Get rid of purple. Yeah.
And I'm like, but I love red. She goes, I really don't like it. It challenges me. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But if I really listened to her,
yeah,
I would have had to change my whole branding for one person. And actually, she did message me about 6 months ago and say, I'm quite warming to your red now. It's only taken her about 4 years, but I still haven't changed it. But that's part of it.
It is part of it. And I really like that you brought that up, because that's the thing, is that being aware of what other people see you as, or what your peccadillos are, or what your preferences are, it's not necessarily to then get into an argument or a justification of how come I'm making these choices. It's how comfortable and confident are you? Are you standing up and aligning with who you truly are? And then what do other people see you as? Whether it's they see you as a person who is addicted to purple or addicted to red, and is that okay? Can you just say thank you and then continue on with what you're doing, right?
I think that's the key word there, thank you. Like, because we all want to be seen and heard. We all say this constantly. We all want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. So thank you. You don't have to agree with them or not, but you've acknowledged them. Thank you. Doesn't mean you're going to go and change your whole color from red to whatever. I don't even know what other color I would change to. Gold, I guess. It would definitely have to go with Moira's purple. But this is it. And I think just not being attached to what people say to us is a real, true ownership.
Right. But don't you think that then leads it and opens it up to confidence? It's about aligning with your authenticity and being confident. Realizing that not everybody's going to like what you do and what you say and how you say it and where you are. And that's okay. Right? But there are people who do. So it's like you want to, I know for myself, whenever I'm doing a live presentation, I'm speaking to the people who are open to hearing it. I'm teaching and sharing my wisdom or my teachings with those who are saying, teach me. I'd like to have some insight, please. I'd like to, get
and
that,
that's
right?
and so you actually, I know, and that's actually a great one, because there's yourself, and then your teachings, and then there's those who pay in a paid consult with you. They're more likely to do the action because they're paying, and they're more likely to do what you say, whereas if you give that content away in a video or something, they're going to go, okay, yeah, that's a good idea, but I won't do it.
Yes.
But in a consult where they're paying, they're like, oh, I'm going to do that, that's a great idea, because there's a different level of your relationship between each other. And then it goes on. And I think, I often think of you and your snow globe, and I say we live in our bubble, and don't let anyone into your bubble, but their bubble's allowed to be alongside of your bubble, and don't let them come into your snow globe and throw poop all over you,
and tell you have to dress a certain way, or you have to speak a specific way, because as soon as that happens, then you're allowing the opinions of other people to dictate how you stand up and how you show up, right?
Yeah, I remember, you just made me giggle. I remember one time I presented, probably 10 years ago, I went to a workshop, and someone said, you're so harsh, you speak so hard, and and you're not very ladylike. And I was like, oh my God. And I was really quite offended. I'm like, gosh, that's me. But okay, let's try another angle. And I remember presenting, and I remember saying to a friend, and she said, well, give it a go. Just see how you go. Knowing darn well it couldn't last. Anyway, all day I lasted. I clenched my butt so tight that I was conscious of how I was standing back.
Right.
And I was speaking very slowly, no animation.
Oh, dear.
And I was getting my message across. Yeah. And I had people complain at lunchtime. Say,
what's wrong with Debz? An alien stepped in.
Like, who is this girl? Like, people have been referred to me like I'm an action taker, a stiletto kicker, and they were like, this is not what I thought this event was about. I thought there was a little bit of humor as you dealing with your traumas or whatever, and I heard all this feedback, and it never came to me. I heard it, and I was like, oh, this, go back to who you were. But I noticed at lunchtime, my butt was so sore and my back was so sore from standing, clenching everything, that I was using muscle. And I'm like, oh no, that's not me. That's not me. No. Just be myself.
That's a perfect example of what I meant about if you are aware of how other people see you, and it felt like I have to play this role or hold this mask.
I did a whole flip side.
Yeah.
I did a whole flip side.
Then people are like, I don't know who she is.
Well, it's like someone who wears heels and then gone to trainers. Yeah.
But it's like a shell. It's just an empty shell then when you're doing that.
Yeah.
Do you know the example of that sprung to mind when you were talking there too was many years ago. I've done lots of different being interviewed on a lot of different podcasts over the years, and generally speaking, I like to just riff. That's why you and I do this together, because we just like to bounce off each other, and we don't have these scripted, and that's the key piece. So whenever I've been on another person's podcast, I may have a few bullet points, but then I want the conversation to just go.
Flow naturally. Yeah.
There was this one time that I was on somebody's podcast, and I don't ever want it to be discovered. But the host had me completely script out. Like, I was supposed to script out the entire thing, and I had to stick to it. Well, Deb, I can't do that. So she'd ask a question, and I'm in the present moment, and I'd start to go, oh, nope, I had to come back to the script.
Oh.
It was the most stilted, and so to your point, right, like my posture.
You sounded.
I sounded like I'd just come off of some weird boat and didn't know what English language was even.
Yeah, and even your body, your whole, you would have had clenching of all sorts.
Absolutely.
But I was even going back to, what do others see you as? There's definitely branding experts. And I say experts, but please, everybody, be aware of what experts actually are. Are they their own expert in their own mind, or are they actually legitimate experts? There's a difference. But branding experts, and you can go to somebody and they can go, oh, I don't like your red and gold.
Right.
So let's just change that to green and blue. And you're like, wait, hang on, that's my whole. But green and blue has more emotion, and green and I actually have no idea about this. I'm just making this part up. Green and blue have this, and green and blue have this, and green and blue have this. So it's much better than red and gold.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but I don't like green and blue. Blue and green should never be seen, is what I always grew up with, and then they insist on this, and you listen to them because you think they're the expert, and you listen to this, and then all of a sudden they have reframed you to be somebody completely different. Your website has these posh, face features and everything, and it's not the natural you.
Yeah.
And that's all part of that. And we listen to that, when we start, when we're new in business, we start because we listen, we go, oh, that's an expert, they know what they're doing.
That's right. We give the authority to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So right from that moment, we give authority away. And the moment we do that, we forget who we are. Saying, I love red and gold. You find a way to put it in there.
Yeah.
I have no problem if you mold. Like these are my two things that are really important to me. Red and gold aren't that important. There's other things. But these are my two things that are really important. You find a way to put this in. This is the stuff I want captured. And if they don't capture it, that warms your heart and lights you up and you come alive, it's not right.
No, and that's a really, really good point, because how other people see you, when you have it reflected back to you, it does have to feel right at your heart. Right. So if you were going in your analogy there, Deb, if you were going to an expert to help brand you, if you see what they come up with, you have to go, yes, that's me.
That's
Not,
it.
Oh gosh, that's what I have to accept.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Right.
It's just like trying on clothes. If you go try on clothes and the shop assistant says, "I'll put this one on," and your boobs are out and you're not a boob out person, they're going to go, "Oh my God, that looks amazing. That looks fabulous." And you're going to go, "Yeah, but that's not me." And they're like, "Yeah, but it looks amazing on you. You've got the figure, you've got like the great," and you're like, "Oh my God." And all night long or all day long, you're just conscious because you buy it because you're so in that hype. But
right.
Another one of listening to other influences in our world that we allow into our bubble. But if you put that top on and you go, "Oh my God, I love this," and someone goes, "Oh, I don't like it," that's not your thing. If you love it and you put it on and go, "Oh my God, I'm going to wear this,"
yes,
you wear it.
Yes. And that one is very much related to what I said earlier about the confidence, because I can think of times where I've put something on and thought, "Oh, I love this. It makes me feel so special. I feel really good." And then the first person that says, "Oh God, that looks horrible," I won't wear it again.
Yes. Isn't
right?
That funny?
Isn't it? Because it's kind of like now I lost all of that connection. I'm talking about 20 odd years ago when I was like that, because now I'm much more aligned with, thank you for your opinion, but I feel comfortable anyway. I feel good. Right.
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, I was just thinking then as I said that, I went out on Saturday and I had a skirt on, and it's not a flattering skirt. It's a brand new skirt I bought, and it's not flattering, but oh my God, I love it. I love the color.
Cool.
It's got purple, reds, pinks, and oranges in it. It's big flowers, which is not what I wear. It's this long, floaty skirt, and I don't look slim in it, but I look gorgeous in it. And I wore it out, and I must have got probably 8 to 10 compliments all day.
Yeah.
And they were like, "That's a lovely," and I was like, "Oh, thank you. It's my new favorite," and I carried on. And it wasn't till that night I realized how many compliments I got, even though in my mind I went, "God, I don't look slim in this, but God, I love it." And I talked about it with a friend, and it was the way I rocked it. Like I
Right,
owned
of
that.
course. Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. I owned what I was wearing with confidence. So when people see that, they don't just go, that's a gorgeous skirt. They go, wow, look at the way she walks in that skirt. Like she owns that.
That's
You know,
beautiful. I love that story.
And that's just an exact example of how others see you.
Yeah. Yeah, because how others see you, are you shining that confidence that I rock this, I feel great. And then that's what people see, not necessarily, because like you say, you could have on the flip side, you could have said, well, I really like this skirt, but God, I don't look very slim.
Yeah.
And you could, right? Then people would be picking up on that.
Yeah, it's how you know, like it's true, because when you feel like, when you say, oh my God, there's such a gorgeous person, it's not just the face, it's not just the hair, it's not the image, it's actually the personality. It's, oh my God, they're sexy. It's the way they walk, it's the way they talk, it's the way they care for the animals, you know, like all those things. And that's the whole, that's the whole package of what that is, not just necessarily because they're on a front page of a magazine.
Yeah.
You know, it's the whole package. So how do you handle when people say, oh God, you're not very good at this, or you're ugly, or when people start trying to filter into your snow globe? How do you handle that? Because what do others see you as? Like, how do you handle it when they say
when they get critical or start pointing things out?
When they start poking.
It doesn't happen to me, to be honest with you. Maybe people have those kind of thoughts and feelings.
Well, as I said that, I'm going, when was the last time someone said that? But yeah.
Well, here's the thing though. I mean, if they wanted to, I would say thank you and continue doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I do walk my talk. But here's the other part too, is that if somebody showed up and started saying to me, oh my God, you're awful at this, or you're ugly, or this, to me, it's like, well, thank you for letting me see who you are.
Sting, burn.
A zinger.
And boom, there she goes. And nothing else needs to be said after that. Thank you very much. And we just walk away. Holy gamoly. Yep.
But it's the truth, isn't it?
I still feel that burn. Oh, wonder if I can do that one today. No, I actually don't think I've had anyone say anything like, oh my God. Holy wow. Wow. My heart's still fluttering.
And it was done with so much love. It was done with so much love.
Yep.
But isn't that, because, I find that, and it's such an interesting experience for all of us, I know, but a lot of people find it easier to find fault and look outward. They're pointing their finger. That's what I'm doing, pointing my finger. But guess what? Exactly. Every time I point one finger out, I've got three pointing back to me, and that's where I'm coming from.
And I grew up with that. Don't point the finger at someone else because there's three fingers pointing back at you. And I go, and there's a thumb to them. And they're like, no, it's not a thumb. I'm like, there is a thumb pointing to them
as well.
Always have to have
yes, finger and a thumb. But so the thing is if I have ever had a critical thought or looked at somebody and go, oh my gosh, that's a terrible thing to do, or that's not okay, I have cultivated this little check in myself that says, so when did you do that? When did you do or say or act like or show up, or is there something similar that's reminding you of? Because that's flipping that, what do others see you as on back at me, right? Because then I'm saying, how do I see them, and what is that reflecting within me? There's a saying, that I love to share the sayings. I can't remember who said this, but it is.
Yes, you can.
What is it that's pissing me off in you that I cannot see within myself?
Oh, yes.
Right? And so therefore, this is what I was saying, is that if somebody is getting pissed off at me and saying, oh, you're ugly, or you're this, or you're that, then what is it that they are not seeing within themselves that I've just brought to light for them? Right?
Yeah, it's just having a moment. What you see in others is also within you.
Yes.
And if you can recognize that, it just, as my cousin would say, calm your farm. It just calms your farm, just settles you down a little bit, just allows that heart to slow down a little and just breathe and allow it. And I think, I go back to, I don't know if it's because I'm older and wiser. I wouldn't say older and wiser, say I've been around the block. I don't know if that's what you can say either. I don't know if that's the right thing to say. But I'm definitely learning, because back when you're trying to find yourself, you really just try and find who you are and how you fit into certain environments. And I know, and I'm going to bring my daughter in, and if she ever listens to this podcast, I love you, Sophie. But
Oopsie.
She's turning, she's turning 21, and I know the identity, and I'm going to say the word crisis, the identity crisis of finding who she is fashion-wise, from going from school to university to the military to finding who she is in the whole fashion, like, right. And also her personality, there's people around her who drink a lot. There's people around her who don't drink. There's people who exercise, and it's that whole finding your tribe, finding your people. What do I wear? What do I say? Do that. Do I fit in? Do I not? And I know as a young person, she has struggled with that.
Right.
I've offered to get her a fashion stylist to actually take her, and she's like, no, Mum, they'll all just take me to places where you'll shop. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to give you one of my ladies. I'll give you somebody who's, appropriate for your age and take you to that stuff, just to see, because it's you're finding your, but you actually don't stop finding yourself.
No,
I think that's the thing.
I agree.
No matter what age you are. Yeah, like even now we're finding what makes us work. This didn't work last time, but it worked this time. Then I'm going to tweak and move on. And it all depends on your PS, which I relate to a heck of a lot.
Yep, your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Absolutely.
Because how you function in that environment, you go to a networking club, and you, depending on your PEMS, you and the people around, you treat people one way. The following week you go to the same one, it has different people, and your PEMS, you've had an amazing sleep, you've had great food or whatever, you're different again. So I think that's the thing. And we get judged, we do get, I remember her last time, she swore a lot, or I remember her last time, that would be me, or I remember her last time she wore these extravagant shoes. Right. Or that's your sister.
That's my sister.
Or I remember last time, and that's exactly it. It's just those little things where you can be seen, and held on to. And it's whether they tell you or not, or they talk behind your back is another thing.
Yes. And if they do, that's their thing. I'm okay with people doing that too.
If you've got someone who constantly talks about others, unless that's your business, you're into Hollywood gossip or whatever, then that's your business. But if someone's talking a lot about others,
well, that actually brings in another piece into this conversation. And you may have heard me say this before. I believe negativity has too much Velcro. And what I mean about that is, so if somebody says, oh, that person is awful, like they're rude, or they swear a lot, or they always do this, that there's a propensity in human conditioning to go, oh my God, tell me more. Tell me more. Oh, no, isn't that awful? And so that's that whole cloud that gets set up with the talking behind people's back. And it's like, yeah,
Feed me, feed me, feed me.
Exactly. Yeah. But the flip side is always there too, if you choose to look for it. The negative is there, but so is the positive.
I think we all have to have, my thought process is we all have to have some sort of drama in our world. And my personal world, I have very little drama, very little drama. Like, it's not even a pimple-sized drama. It's like little things come in and go out. But my drama is my clients.
Right.
And they bring the drama to the table. So I think everyone has to have some sort of drama, but you can control your drama.
That's right.
If you're to label it drama. So Mama is in my clients, they bring me drama, we resolve it. Another client brings another drama, we resolve it. So I have my drama, it's just not in my personal world.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that it's the same.
And I love it that way.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But to reflect that back to you, I think that's how come we get to do the work we do. Because we're more resilient, because we have this calmness and not very much drama in our own lives, then we can actually we can hold space for those who need a sounding board or how to resolve something, right?
Yeah.
It's about balance. That's what gives me my balance.
Well, I mean, I often just at the end of my day, and I mean, I do say my gratitudes at night. At the end of my day, I just go, oh my God, like so-and-so's world is so crazy. They've got this, and this. God, I'm so grateful for what I have right now. Like, I don't have that chaos or that pickle or whatever it is. And it's a grounding. You know, people say, oh my God, my mum said this to me last year and I'm holding on to it. And you're like, and that's your biggest issue? You need to be grateful, love, that that's the biggest issue you've got, because there's other people who are going through this, and this, and, you know, and you just want to slap some people like, that's your but can't, because that's their biggest issue and that's where they're at.
Right.
But sometimes I do just go, wow. You know, the other day the hairdryer wasn't working and I was like, oh my God, my hairdryer's not working. And then I went, oh, first world problems. Deborah, oh my God, if you told people about that would just be so crazy. Your hairdryer's not working. I can't dry my hair. But then there's other people who have no power, and there's other people who don't have a hairdryer, and then there's other people who have no hair. You know, you can go to the whole full extreme of that and go, yeah, exactly. I do often hear my little challenges, my personal challenges, and I get the giggles and go, yes, of course, Deborah, darling, that's exactly it.
Yes.
You know,
but that's a good point.
But when you think about,
go ahead.
No, you're right. That's a good point.
I was going to say it's a good point, but to just, you know, reflect on what is your challenges and what's your issue, and then laugh at it. That's what I try and do. That is like, well, this OMG, look at how serious I got on this issue.
I know. Sometimes you can just get yourself into such a spirally state without even knowing, and it can just escalate, you know, and we want it to flush down the drain as quick as it can, but it just keeps coming back up.
Do you think that's kind of related to the idea of how other people see you? You know, whether you're doing that about, oh my God, my hairdryer is not working, or oh my God, what would somebody think if they saw me having a wee tizzy fit over my hairdryer?
Yeah, totally. Well, actually, I had to giggle because yesterday I was you've seen my pink fluffy bunny outfit, haven't you, Moira?
I think
Hang
so.
on, just for anybody, it's not a sexy outfit. It's a full up to my neck, down to my floor. It's like a 2-piece bunny pink outfit. If listeners, you're interested, I'll post a photo of for you, but you have to ask. Just on the Facebook page, you have to ask. But anyway, it is not attractive. It's not flattering, but it's super comfy. And yesterday I put it on. I woke up in the morning and I went, I know what I'm wearing today. I've got a day at home
Pink,
in the office. No one's going to see me. I know. That's exactly it. And so I giggled about it and put it on. And then I had to go to the bank. So I had to go to 2 banks, take money out of one hole in the wall and replace it with another one. And I had to take my partner's sign-written car. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could get away with my bunny outfit in my written car. And I was really tempted, and I knew, but I didn't. But if I was in my Range Rover, I would have. And that's just a prime example of what do others see you as, because
Yeah.
if I got out of the sign-written sports car,
You're like, oh my gosh.
what is she doing in that outfit? With my jandals, my thongs. But that's exactly it. So what do others see you as? There is no way I could have got out of that sports car, a sports sign written vehicle, wearing that.
Right.
And so I did change.
So it is important to think of, what do others see me as?
Well, I had to subordinate to the sign writing on the side of the car.
Yes.
But if I was in my Range Rover, I wouldn't have cared.
You would have done it anyway.
I would have worn my little bunny outfit. Yeah. But that's just a perfect example of that subordinating. And I had to subordinate at that time, and it was okay. Like, yeah. It's a great one to end on.
It is an awesome one to end on. So it's been an excellent conversation. We hope that this has helped our listeners check in, sort of reflect on what do other people see you as, and are you good with that? And how do you see that is it a gift? Is it something to run away from or run toward to? So all that being said, let's just check back in, and we do encourage our listeners to rate themselves on a scale of 0 to 10. And we like to do this at the beginning and at the end of our conversations. We also encourage our listeners to do this throughout your day, just as a nice tool for self-management and self-awareness. So all that said, where would you put yourself?
I'm definitely going to say a 0, because I've realized I really do own who I am.
Yeah, me too. I'm at a 0 too. And I do. And I have fun, and we make each other laugh. We make other people laugh too.
Yeah, well, we better. Don't worry, I'm still going to sleep tonight, people, if I don't make you laugh.
No, it's about just being willing to show up and be who you are.
Yeah.
So awesome conversation. This has been fun. Thank you, dear Deb. Thank you, listeners.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.